Hi, thank you again for joining my YouTube channel. I know this has been a while and that I haven't posted something. I just want to share this. I hope I can make sense to many of you. The correlation between spirituality and mental health. I feel like God has been pushed out of the mental health department, like he cannot help, and we're just gonna go cold turkey psychology. Listen, I love psychology, and I think neuroscience is amazing. You know, the trauma modalities that are out there are just amazing. I think the ability to have connection with people and connect with them in a way that makes them feel heard and understood and validated and actually feel like they have someone connected with them is amazing. But we're not going to negate the fact that God or spirituality doesn't have a room doesn't have room in the counseling department, because I feel like, especially for many people who are Christians, the struggle that they have about seeking mental help is they feel like it's less than the spiritual wisdom or the spiritual intelligence that they have, and they feel like it's very limited. And as a result, many people don't seek help and they just suffer in silence. I have seen people who are praying, but I can also see the struggles of stress affecting them. And so, why am I doing this? As a Christian, and especially as a Christian counselor, one of the responsibilities we have is almost like when Moses went to the mountain and talked to God, and Aaron was down waiting for him, and the Israelites could not hear God directly. So Moses listened to God. Moses claimed he could not talk to people because he was stuttering. So he translated the message to Aaron. Aaron translated it to the Israelites or to Pharaoh. So our role as Christian counselors is we can have deep spiritual truths in all of us. We could pray, we could hear God, we could have the prophetic, but if we cannot translate that information to a person in lay terms where they can digest it and process it, that it can lead to their transformation, we are failing them. And of course, this is a journey, and we need to know how to involve the wisdom in psychology, the wisdom in neuroscience, the wisdom in mental health, to be able to integrate spiritual intelligence into that wisdom, because there is no wisdom, there is no counsel that is against God. And if we don't learn how to communicate that, especially we who are called into counseling, I think we are failing on our calling. It's easy to charge leaders in the body of Christ, like pastors, to do better. But I think even us as Christian counselors, or even those that are in different departments, we all have a responsibility to express or manifest the wisdom of God in our counseling offices. We need to be able to communicate that wisdom in our language where we are not necessarily compromising, but at the same time, we are integrating that wisdom in our language that can create impact. Because one of the frustrations I hear from people is like, you can give them wisdom, but if you don't give them the how to's, they feel like they can't do anything. They feel ill-equipped. They don't feel like they can do anything about it. And so at least I know one of the challenges or one of the responsibilities that I have as a Christian counselor in my life is to allow my mind to be an express image of Christ's wisdom being manifested in these offices. This is a journey. Of course, we decrease and God increases in our lives, but we have a mandate to bring healing to the brokenhearted. It's not by might, it's not by power, but it's by the Spirit of God that we are able to do these things. Because I feel like God has been really pushed out to the degree, like, even in when you go to some of the certifications, and I understand the correlation, the sensitivity of spirituality, because I've seen how much damage can be done when you try to incorporate spirituality to someone who is very immature in their journey with God. That the wisdom that could be beneficial if it's presented to someone in a place where they are still in the process of even just learning to regulate their emotions, it can cause harm. And I've seen where people could take it as though God doesn't help. I tried it and it didn't work. Not because it's true, but they were processing so much trauma at the time that they were not in position to incorporate that wisdom of God into their processes, that they were still so stuck in the bodily trauma or the psychological or mental and emotional, that the spiritual aspect of that was not able to retain any wisdom per se. So for some of you out there that are Christians that have never been to therapy or you despise therapy, there are so many wise therapists out there. Like I go to these trainings and I go to these classes and I get these certifications and I'm amazed at the dedication people give themselves to really get better at the modalities, to modify these modalities, to make sure that they present the right information because they all have a desire to help. And I think for many of you out there, maybe you're called into helping people, you're called into counseling. Maybe you're not even called into counseling, but you have a heart to help people. I think it's easy to judge things that you don't know or you don't do, but I think we should give ourselves permission to explore the responsibility that we who carry the wisdom, we're supposed to manifest the wisdom of God through Christ in our lives, and see how dedicated these people are, like in trauma. When you look at the trauma modalities that are out there and how every time they evolve with more information, more research that is being done. Science is not designed to eliminate God, but science proves that there is a God. And I think it's unfair on both sides if psychology doesn't acknowledge God, if God is not even acknowledged in psychology. But it's also unfair as we engage in spirituality if we neglect the psychological aspects of who we are. They are interrelated. And I will tell you, as a person myself in my own journey, when I was introduced into counseling, I think you're always learning, and this is one of the things that fascinates me the most, because you get to know more about yourself on a deeper level, layers and layers and layers and layers, unending layers of exploration. And so it amazes you that the more you know intellectually, it opens up your capacity, even spiritually. It doesn't mean that you're limited. You don't have to shut your intellect off to comprehend the spiritual material, but you also don't have to negate your spirituality to comprehend, to neglect your intellectual capabilities. So I'm saying this to say, if you've been to counseling as a Christian, don't discourage others from going through the journey. And there are so many also Christian programs that are out there, but don't be afraid of secular services that are out there, because they really have so much good stuff out there. But we need to have the manifest expression of God's wisdom so that we can have spiritual intelligence, that we can integrate spiritual intelligence and mental and emotional intelligence, that we can become who we're supposed to be on this earth, so that we don't feel like we are missing out or sacrificing one or the other. I think it's a great opportunity to represent Christ. I think this is one of the most beautiful thing I see when I see Christ in another person. And I'm like, God, I want to be a vessel that can manifest your presence, that can manifest your character, your nature, your attributes. It's a beautiful thing to see in a human. And so for those of you that are called into the ministry of helping people, counseling, praying, hospitality, in any capacity in our relationships, I think we can benefit on all angles the wisdom of counseling so that we don't sell ourselves short. So this is not to say that you're not a believer if you seek mental health. I think we can attest to the fact that the process of transformation, the process of sanctification is the process of mental health. Otherwise, you will just get saved or just give your life to God and then just wait until you die. But you need to be perfected. And that process is a journey. There is safety in a multitude of counselors. So give yourself permission to grow and be curious to understand how you can benefit from others.